I see happy kids a lot. I see joy behind the mask. I hear it, laughter in a classroom. Our community didn't change much in size, but it feels like it did, right?
I think it's kind of made everybody a little bit more human, you know? The relationship goes deeper because we're all in this together.
To be in a place where we are given permission to feel and to be vulnerable and to be afraid and to be joyful, that's why I'm here.
Coming back together with the people that I love and care about in this community and re-devoting ourselves to the practice of teaching has lent a kind of interesting dynamic between what is out of control and the possibility of seizing and opportunities to improvise in this out of controlness.
Really not knowing what it was going to look like, I think, was the scariest part. And there was something freeing about that as well, because I think we were all in that together. We just sort of said, you know, we don't know what it's going to look like, so we'll just see what happens, or at least we're going to be back at school.
I love the way school works at GFA. That's why I go here. And not being able to do that for a solid 6-month chunk of my life was so odd. And as much as I was scared, I just knew that I needed to be back.
The anxiety was overwhelming, just the feeling of uncertainty was overwhelming. And then kids walked into the room. And the second that the kids were in the room, it felt like, okay, that's why we're doing this.
I fashioned myself a jack of all trades, master of nothing, willing to pick up any and all things that help keep the train moving. And I think that's the attitude everyone's taken on. So it doesn't leave much room for complaining or feeling sorry for myself when I'm watching folks around me really step up.
When you partner with these kids, they partner with you back, and they want to do a good job, and they want to be good citizens in the class, and they want to be engaged with the teacher. And that has been such a joy for me to experience. I'm having a ball.
I've seen people become PE teachers and temperature readers and just flex all these muscles that I haven't seen them flex before. There are moments where you need to vent about how tired you are, but everyone just dug deep, really deep.
You think you can't handle it, and then you rise to whatever you're given, because what's the alternative, right? I have this classroom of kids that are depending on me, and we need to do this.
Kids are so incredibly adaptive. I'm so blown away by especially the upperclassmen making the best out of a really difficult and trying situation when so many milestones and so many things got taken from them.
But when you have a little bit of energy and you can just kind of try to be uplifting or happy in a way that's not trying to force anybody to also feel the same way, I think it can be really helpful.
If I stay positive, then other people will feed off of that. We have to be grateful with what we have and what we've been given.
Controlling what we control is the best thing we can do. There's a psychological aspect of it. Are you just gonna sit here and feel sorry for yourself? It's like, no, I'm gonna get up and do what I can.
I know I lean on all of my friends and I lean on the faculty to get through days that, just aren't the same as it would have been. We all just kind of have to lean on each other, and everyone's been doing a great job of doing that. And the faculty have been more than open to talk to us about anything.
I think that the honesty that I'm seeing from my students and that we are seeing from everyone on campus has been so huge in terms of not only being able to talk about what we need from each other, but also what we need from ourselves.
I think the thing about GFA is that everybody just wanted to be back at school. I think sometimes the teachers underestimate how much we actually want to be here and what we're willing to do, the precautions we're willing to take, the community norms we're willing to follow.
I don't think any of them were naive enough to think that school was going to be this place where I could forget what's going on outside of here under the circumstances. I think they are pleasantly surprised at how flexible we are able to be, how much freedom we're able to give them.
Throughout all of this, we've been incredibly authentic to our mission and what we're saying we're actually doing. And that's really hard to come by. I think the other amazing thing has been the teachers and dealing with being students again. The vulnerability there is really inspiring because most of them completely jumped into it instead of shying away from it.
What this moment seems to afford for those of us in the teaching profession is something like a return to what is fundamental and essential. It's trying to create a space where fresh thinking is possible and new experience is possible. We're using more of our senses than we typically do at school, and we're committing as fully as possible to what we're doing. That seems somehow more possible now than it was before.
But this is a different kind of creativity that we've kind of had to wrap our brains around, how to use spaces in entirely new ways, how to design a classroom in a completely different way. One of the first challenges of the year was how to make the room feel warm and cozy and inviting and safe.
The thing that I've learned from the pandemic is like you can't know what to expect. You have to be flexible. So I basically came in with very low expectations. And I'm pretty sure, based on my standards, like GFA knocked it out of the park.
Everything's very different, and obviously that's definitely difficult. They've made such a huge effort. There's ping pong tables outside, there's Can Jam, and they're doing everything they can. I feel very, very fortunate to be able to go to this school, even in a situation like this.
I love that my school worked so hard to make sure that we could have as close to a normal experience as possible. It's like touching. It's great to know that Mr. Whalen and the rest of the faculty and staff care so much about us that they were willing to come up with crazy new schedules, lunch deliveries, one-way hallways and stuff. And they literally rebuilt the cafeteria to be a classroom.
There are no middle school sports. There's no middle school play. There are currently no middle school clubs. And yet, they are so grateful to be here with each other in the moments that we have. And they are so willing to stand up and say, I feel weird today. I feel happy today. I feel sad today.
There is a determination to see everybody not just as student and teacher, but just really as a human trying to get through something so unimaginable up until this point.
It's forced all of us to be a little bit more understanding of each other and know that something else might be going on outside of school.
Nobody would doubt whether anyone's pulling their weight at this point. I think we're all a little bit in survival mode, and because of that, maybe it does create more of a sense of empathy in that it's a lot easier to step in and help somebody out.
I've never gotten as many thank yous in this span of time.
I've seen countless examples of faculty and staff doing different things. I love that Tawny Butterfield takes my temperature every morning when I walk in. I love that Bob Whalen's out there with his bullhorn and playing music to manage pickup. I mean, we're all just doing what we're doing.
We have to commit every day to the courage and difficulty of being part of a collective, which means you're vulnerable to other people and they're vulnerable to you. And their strength is yours.
This is going to be such a pivotal moment for our culture as a whole, but also as an institution, educational institution. I think there are a lot of really interesting and innovative changes that are going to happen because of the pressure that we've faced to keep up with what we need to do and how we need to meet the students' needs.
If there's a calling to think right now, it's not just to serve what was nostalgically, to reproduce a status quo that we all know on some fundamental level was wanting in deep ways, but to reimagine and remake our world, our communities.